Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Destiny and welcome back here. So in this video we're going to go ahead and start working with a Google login page clone. And if you've been using YouTube and you've tried logging into YouTube before to actually like a video or actually comment, then you must have seen something like this that looks like the Google login page. And in this video that's what we're going to be cloning, okay? And I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just go ahead and get started. So you're going to open up your favorite code editor. In my case, it's Visual Studio Code. And this was where we stopped from the last video. I'm just going to go ahead and close out all these CSS files. And I'm going to open this up. And now we want to go ahead and create another file. We're going to create new file. And this one is going to be login.html. So we're going to use this as the login, and we're going to also use it as the register page. Okay, so in the login.html we also need to create a new CSS, and it's going to be in the CSS file. That one is going to be login.css. okay, so in the login.html we want to go ahead and open up HTML boilerplate code just like this, and I'm going to change this to Google, so Google login, something like that. And in here the first thing we would want to do in the head section is go ahead and link the CSS. So I'm going to say link, and I simply want to come over to link slash CSS slash login.css, as simple as that. And I think that's pretty much what we want to do. Now the next thing we'd want to do is to come over to the body, and we're going to create a new div, and we're going to call this one login box. So login dash box, just like that. And in this login box, that's where we're going to add an image, and this image is simply going to be Google's this image over here. So I'm going to grab this CDN that I've got over here. I'm going to be providing it for you guys in the CDN. So I'm just going to come over to this snippet, and I'm going to paste it here, and I'm simply going to say let's just say Google logo, and I'm going to paste it there for you guys so you could get it whenever you are taking this tutorial. Okay, so I'm just going to paste this in here, and I want to open this Google page up with live server on a new browser, and as you can see, this is what we've got now. So let's keep going. Now we've had this image. Now inside this div we also want to have a h1, and this h1 is simply going to have a class of, let's say, sign in, and what we simply want to have over here is sign in. Okay, as simple as that. And also we want to have an input field, or before the input field we want to add in this over here that says use your Google account. So I'm just going to copy this, and over here we want to add a tag. We're just going to call it x1 like this, and x1. So we simply want to add in a class, and in this place we're going to call this Google dash account. So I'm going to say Google dash account, and in here that's where I want to paste that and use your Google account. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is this input over here, and in order to do that I'm simply just going to get down, and I'm going to create an input field. This one is going to have a type of, let's just leave it as text, but we want to pass in a placeholder, and this placeholder is simply going to be enter, let's just say email or phone, because that's what we've got over there. Let's look at it. So as you can see, email or phone. So that's pretty much what we want to have. Now we need a BR tag over here just like that, and we want to add an x2 tag. So in this x2 I'm going to create an a tag, and in this a tag I'm simply going to pass in forgot email. So let's say someone has forgotten their email, this over here, that's what we're going to do. Now after that we want to go ahead and create a small tag, and the small tag is simply going to have a class of, let's just say, learn more, and it has a class of learn more, and in here we're simply going to pass in this text over here, and I want to copy all this. I'm going to copy that, and I'm simply going to paste it in there, and I want to make sure that all this stays line by line like this, and that should be it. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm still going to get back there, and I want to make sure that everything actually aligns well. So let's see, this is what we are supposed to copy, just this. Okay, so I'm gonna get back, I'm just gonna get back a couple of times, and after the learn more in here I'm just gonna paste this. Okay, so I'm gonna get back once like this. sign in. Okay, so that's pretty much what we want to have. But for the learn more, I'm simply going to add a span tag. So as you can see over here, it's styled differently. Okay, so that's why I want to add in a span tag, and we're going to pass in the learn more in there, and this is how our page be looking now. Okay, as you can see, this is all that we've got, not looking good. Now we need to go ahead and work with the create account and next. So for the create account and next, that's quite easy. We're just gonna come down below the small tag, and let's see, there is an issue over here. I'm gonna this is forgot email. Now we need to end off this a tag, and we need to end off the x2 tag. So end of the a tag and also end of the x2 tag. That means I'm getting rid of this, and I'm just gonna make this stay on the same line with others. Okay, so that's it. Now I want to add another tag called x3, and this one is simply going to be create, let's just say account, because that's what we've got over there. And over here I simply want to pass in a button. This button is going to have, let's just put a type of submit. We'll be using that at the back end, and we're simply going to pass in next over here. So that's pretty much what we want to do. Now let's go ahead and start styling this page. This is pretty easy, and we need to go ahead and start working with the CSS now. So I'm going to open up the CSS, login.css, and you just want to add the simple line over here that imports the font. You can simply grab it from one of the codes that we've written before, and you should be on your right path. So let's get going. Firstly, I'm going to target the login box, and for this one I'm simply going to give it a position, and it's going to be absolute, and I want to give it a top, and this top is going to be 18%. I also want to give it I can put it side by side so you guys will see what's going on, and that's how everything is going now. So I can also put a left 33%, so I'm going to say left 33% and 33%, just like that. And I could also put a width, and this is going to be 460 px, and also a height, and this should be 500 px. And we could have a border, and this border should be 1 px. Let's have solid, and let's have hash da I think DADCEO. I think that should be it. This is EO. Okay, as you can see, we've got this border over here. Now we need to go ahead and work with the H1, but before that I want to go ahead and make the image smaller. So I'm going to say login box, and I want to get the image. So I simply want to give the image a width of, let's just say 50 pixels, and we're still actually going to change that later. I want to say 100. So we're still going to change that later, but for now let's just leave it that way, and let's just push this down, and let's keep working with what we want to work with. So now I'm going to target the H1, so I'm going to say login box H1, and for this one we are simply going to be doing most of adding position absolute, top, left and right to align all this. So the top for the H1 is going to be 15%, and the left is going to be 40, and we need font family, font size and font weight. So font family is going to be Poppins, and font size is going to be, let's just say 25 pixels, and also we need font weight. Font weight should just be like 300. Okay, so as you can see, we are working with a sign in now. So I'm going to copy everything that's over here, and I'm simply going to paste it down, and this time around we want to go ahead and target the X1 instead of the H1. So for this one we need position absolute. Top is going to be 27%, left is going to be 30%. Font family is going to be Poppins. Font weight, we don't need anything in the font weight, so I'm going to get rid of that. And font size should simply be, let's just say 15%, because I want that to be smaller. Okay, so as you can see, that's how it's looking now. I'm just going to get down here, I'm going to paste that again, and for this one now we need to go ahead and target the H2. So for the H2 I'm going to change, sorry, the X2 rather, not the H2. It's still going to have a position absolute. Font family is going to be Poppins, but we want to add a color. So we're going to add a color, and this color is simply going to be, let's just say hash. I'm going to say hash A, this should be 1 A7 3 and EB, I think. Okay, yeah, that's the color that we're using, and this is it for the forgot email. And I think that's what we want to do now. Let's give it a top and left. So the top should be 81%, 81%. As you can see, it's going to come there, and the left should be, let's just say 7%. So it's going to come all the way to this part. And also the font size seems to be really big, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce it. And let's see, if we don't give it a font size, it should take the default one, which is the small font size. Okay, that's what we want. Now for the font weights, we just go ahead and add in bold for it. Okay, and now after that, wait, I think what we are working with is actually X2, so I'm gonna get rid of this bold. And for the font size, I simply want to add in 14px, or we'll still stick with the 15px that we were using, and that's it. So X2 52%. Okay, actually this is supposed to be X2 and it's way down, so let's do it, let's make it 52%, and that's because this is what we're targeting over here, this forgot email. Okay, so let's not confuse ourselves, this is it, but this one that's supposed to be over here is supposed to be the learn more. Now after that, I think that's pretty much what we want to do. Let's go ahead and target the, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to target the X3. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change this to X3. Position is absolute, font family is Poppins, font size is 14px. Now this should be 81, so that's what we want to get, and that's for the create account. And also the font weight for this one, we're going to make it bold because we want it to be bold. If you look at this over here, you can see that it's bold. Okay, so that's it, and I want to reduce the size of this so we see everything in one screen. So after that, the next thing that we want to do is let's see, we want to go ahead and target a small, so I'm simply going to paste this, and I just want to target a small and the small tag, and that's it over there. Now the next thing that we want to do from here is simply add a position absolute. We already have it. Font family is Poppins, we already have it. Color, we want this color to be kind of gray like this. Okay, as you can see, that's what we've got over there. And the font size, we could just still use 14px. And for the font weight, we don't want it to be bold, we just want to use 400. Okay, so we just want to use 400, and that's how it should be. But the top for this one, we want it to be 65%, so we're gonna say 65%, and as you're gonna see, it's gonna come down a little bit, and that's what we've got over here. As you can see, it's coming down a little bit. And one more thing that we need to do is this. I'm gonna get back here, and we've got this BR tag. I'm gonna get rid of this BR tag, and I think let's come over here and see. To sign in, you need to learn more. To sign in, learn more. Let's get back to the login CSS, and we need to work. Let's change this size a bit. So I'm gonna add that. Now I'm simply gonna add the break tag again. So I'm going to add the break tag again. So now it always breaks it apart. So that's pretty much what I want to do. I'm going to make this 13. So we see what we've got. I'm going to make it 14. And I'm just going to make it 13. Okay. So that's pretty much what we've got. Now I want to go ahead and target a span. So I'm just going to come down here and paste what I've got on my clipboard. So I'm going to copy this and come down, paste. And this one is going to be span. And for the color of this one, we'd want to use the same A1A73EB color that we used. So I'm simply going to pass it in there. And now we're trying to fix the learn more. Okay. And for the font weight, it's going to be bold. I'm going to make this one bold. And I want to get rid of the font size. I want to get rid of the top and this. And also this. I want to get rid of all that. And as you can see, everything is coming together now. So the next thing we need to do is, I think we need to change. Let me change this to 14. Change this to 15. Okay, in this now I need to get rid of this BR tag that we've got over here. I'm gonna get rid of it, and this is everything that we've got. So everything is looking great now. Now let's go ahead and target the inputs. So for the inputs, I'd say we need almost the same things. So I'm also still gonna copy this, and I'm just gonna paste it down here. And I'm going to change this one to inputs. So this is going to be inputs. And now we're going to start targeting the inputs. Okay. So position absolute, font family Poppins, font size should be 20. I'm going to put 20px, width 400, height 50px. So I'm going to put width should be 400px, height should be 50px. Okay. As you can see, that's it. And we could add top should be 40%, so you should go all the way to the top, and also we want to make the left to be 70. Okay, so this is pretty much what we want over here, and I think that's how this is looking. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead and add in some border, and we're gonna remove the background. So the background, we're gonna put none over there. I'm just gonna come over here. Let's see if we try typing in something. Yeah, that's working. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna say the background, not the background color. So the background should be none. And also we want to say the border, let's make the color to be inherit. So color should be inherit, so it should inherit from whatever color that we've got there. Now the next thing we want to simply pass in is border. So I'm going to say border and I want to say 1px. I'm going to pass in solid and we want to pass in this color code DA. I'm going to say hash DA and that's it. So that's the border that we've got over there. And we also need to pass in cursor pointer. So I'm going to say cursor and not that, but cursor, and we're simply going to pass in pointer. And finally outline should be inherit. Okay, so that's pretty much what we want to do with that. Now let's go ahead and get the, we also want to pass in color. This color should be inherit. Okay, so whenever I will start typing now, that's how everything's going to be looking. Okay, so let's go ahead and target the placeholder. So I'm going to say the login box and I want to target, or we could just even go ahead and target input because that's all we've got, only one input. And I'm going to say placeholder. So I'm targeting the placeholder now. And I want to say the position should be absolute. And as you can see, that's where it is. And I want to say the top should be 30%. That's where it is. And also the left should be 7%. So it should all be on the same place. Okay, let's just say the left should be 3% instead, not px. So I simply want to pass in the fonts family, and this one is going to be Poppins. And as you can see, it's going to take in Poppins in there. And I also simply want to pass in let's just say we want to pass in the font size, and this one should be 15px. So 15px. So I want it to be smaller, and as you can see, that's what we've got. Okay. So that's pretty much what we want to do over here. Now, as you can see, everything is coming together. Now, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and target a button. So I'm going to say login, and I simply want to target the button. And for the button, I'm going to add a position, and that's going to be absolute as usual. And I'm also going to target the top. The top should be 80%. Okay, so as you can see, it's now over there. And also the left should be 74%. Let's see, 74%. So it should go all the way to the right, and as you can see, that's all coming together. Now the next thing that we could add is simply go ahead and let's see, we could add a font family Poppins, so it has that in the button. And also we want to add a background. The background color should be the 1AB blah 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 thing. And also let's height it, let's add a height to it. But I just say let's height it. That's going to be 40px. And also we want to add a width to the bottom. The width is going to be we could just say 85px. Okay, and that's it. Now we also want to change the color inside of it. So let's say the color that's in it, we want to make it white. Okay, and we could actually, let's remove the outlines. So I'm going to say outline should be none. I'm going to say border should be none. And I'm simply going to add a simple border radius to it. So I'm going to say border radius, and we just say, let's just say 5px. Okay, so as you can see, that's all looking good. Now if we come over here, as you can see, we are beginning to get something that looks similar. I'm gonna push that up a little bit, and as you can see, this is what we've got over here, and this is what we've got over here. So that's it. Now the next thing we want to do is simply go ahead and target the button hover. So when we hover on this button, we want to do something. Now if you come over here, you see when we hover, we'll add the simple drop shadow, and that's how it is on Google login page. So I'm simply going to come over here and I'm going to target the login box, and I'm simply going to target the button, and I want to target the hover. Okay, so I targeted the login box and I targeted the hover. Now what I simply want to add is a background color, and it's still going to be this one, but this time around I want to add a WebKit shadow. So I'm going to say WebKit box shadow. So WebKit dash box shadow. So we're adding a WebKit box shadow, and we want to pass in some value. So we want to get 5px, 6px, 12px. We push it all the way to the left, and we also want to push it down. So we're going to say minus 6px. And let's pass in a color. So I'm going to use an RGB color. Let me use RGBA. And in here, I'm going to pass in 0, 0, 0, 0, And okay, let me just say 0.5. That's for the opacity. Now as you can see, when we hover, that's how it's looking. And you can also make this darker over here so that it gets a little bit darker when you hover. And see, when we hover, see, that gets a little bit darker. So that's pretty much it. It's looking okay. Now the next thing we could do is go ahead and add a main box shadow to it. Okay, so we're gonna say box shadow, and I'm simply gonna add in 5px. I'm gonna say 6px, just like we've done before, 12px, and I'm gonna pass in -6px. And I'm just gonna grab the RGBA color again. I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna pass it in. Okay, so as you can see now, it's given it this really cool hover effect. And if you want, you could even add in a transition. So I can say transition, and I'm gonna say 0.5 sec, so it doesn't hover at an instance. As you can see, when we hover, it takes time, and it's looking really amazing. So that's pretty much it for the hover. Now the next thing we could go ahead and target is this image. So I'm gonna bring up this image over here, and position absolute, that's what I'm gonna give to it. So I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna say position absolute, and we're gonna say top, and let's just pass in 4%. I'm also gonna pass in left, and the left should be, let's say, 38%. And I also want to pass in a width, and this width is going to be 100px, or let's just say 100 pixels. So I want that to be smaller. And I'm also going to give it a height, and the height should be 70 pixels. Okay, and that's looking great. So guys, as you can see, that's pretty much it. We are done with the Google login page, and everything is looking really amazing. Now from the next video, we're going to go ahead and start working with Django, and now we have completely and successfully finished out the front end. Congratulations if you followed along with the course and you completed it all the way to this part. I'm sure that by now you must have learned a thing or two, or added to the knowledge that you've got before. And I'm sure you can't wait for the next video if you're actually waiting for it, to learn how to use Django to create a video uploading platform, which in our case is going to be YouTube clone. So I know that's really going to be fun. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just go ahead and get started. Do make sure to check out my YouTube channel, drop a like, consider subscribing, as it really means the world to me. And I hope I'll see you guys in the next section. For now, mad love, peace out.